You're a bitch. And you should feel like a bitch. Could you send a fuck? Could you send 10 fucks? Cause I don't got none for you. Could you send, could you go fuck, go fuck yourself.
What's happening, guys? Supernova here, back with another video, and this one, is going to be kind of like a combination rant, my take on this topic, and then my explanation as to why I feel the way that I do. And that has to do with this reporting that we got earlier today of Ubisoft announcing that they are going to be prioritizing free-to-play games. But wait, hold on. Hold on. They're going to be prioritizing free-to-play games, but they will not be abandoning their big budget launches. That's what Ubisoft says, right? And I've seen a couple people's takes on this. I've seen a couple videos of people talking about this, and their takes seem to be kind of like, well, you know, they're doing a little bit of this, they're doing a little bit of that. As long as they deliver on both ends, everybody's going to be happy. We don't see a problem with it. And to that I say, fuck that, fuck that, fuck their opinions, and fuck Ubisoft, okay? And I'm going to explain to you why I feel that way. Because, listen, if Ubisoft wants to prioritize free-to-play games, they're entitled to do whatever the fuck they want to do, right? Ubisoft can do whatever the fuck they want to do. But don't sit here and pretend like you're going to continue to make these free-to-play games and then continue to make the big-budget AAA games, and that's how it's going to be from now on. So anyone who's concerned about the big-budget AAA games, oh, don't worry, guys. We're still going to make your games while we also make these free-to-play games. Listen, don't give me that bullshit, okay? Because I fucking know better. This is how the shit starts. It starts off with, listen, we're going to make some free-to-play games, and we're going to make mostly your games. And then it becomes, you know, we're going to make 50-50 free-to-play games and your games. And then it becomes, we're going to make mostly free-to-play games, but we're still going to make some of your games. And then it becomes, we're going to make almost entirely free-to-play games, and we might think about possibly still making your games. And then it eventually becomes, fuck your games, all we make now is free-to-play games. Right? This is how it starts. It's like that saying, you know, that if you throw a frog in boiling water, the frog will jump out. But if you put the frog in room temperature water and slowly increase the temperature of the water, the frog will eventually boil to death and not even realize what the fuck is happening. Does that make fucking sense to you guys? And by the way, sorry if my voice sounds fucking weird. My nerve pains have been kicking my ass, so I've been screaming and my throat's all fucking scratchy. So if it sounds weird, that's why. But yeah, listen, I know there's a bunch of you out there right now listening like, yo, what the fuck is Supernova talking about? That's never gonna happen. That's not what Ubisoft is doing. Ubisoft is a big AAA developer. They want to dip their toes in some other things, but they're always gonna be the big AAA developer. Supernova's just being extreme. He's being hyperbolic, right? And yeah, I am being a bit hyperbolic, but there's a reason why I feel the way that I do. And I will explain to you and use data and news articles from the past to help you understand why it is I have these feelings and why I have the mentality I do when it comes to shit like this, okay? Let's start off with this. None of these companies give a fuck about us. Ubisoft doesn't give a fuck about us. Activision doesn't give a fuck about us. PlayStation doesn't give a fuck about us. Xbox doesn't give a fuck about us. PC doesn't give a fuck about us. Nintendo doesn't give a fuck about us. Okay? Can we all at least agree on that? That these companies don't give a fuck about us as individuals, as gamers, as consumers. All they give a fuck about is how much money we are spending and what we're spending our money on. That's all they care about. They care about their quarterly earnings and the numbers they've made. Because that's all we are to them. We are just numbers. We are the source of the money, and the games are the tools for extracting that money from us. Can we at least all agree on that much before I go forward? Okay. Now, I have long said that mobile gaming would be the end of gaming. At least the end of gaming as we know it, or the end of gaming as someone like me, a hardcore gamer, likes it, right? Because gaming will always be here, but gaming is going to evolve, and mobile gaming was going to start the evolution of the gaming industry into something that I don't like, something that I, as a hardcore gamer, do not like. For me, it started with the freemium model of gaming on mobile. What's the freemium model? Well, it's this. At first, in things like the App Store or the Google Play Store or the Android Store, whatever that was fucking called back in the day, there were games you could buy for $2.99, $3.99. Like, that's how you got games. If you wanted a game, you paid money for that game. Then the freemium model of gaming entered mobile, and that was games that didn't cost anything to download. They were essentially free-to-play games. They cost you $0 to download, and these game companies then made money by selling advertising on their games. Then entered microtransactions, and holy fuck did this change the game. Because now, these game companies who were making games that cost very little money to develop now had little money printing machines built into them. And these games touch millions and millions and millions of people. Millions of people are playing these games. And I'll give you a great example of something. My mother is not a gamer. She's in her fucking 50s. My aunts, her sisters, also not gamers. They're in their 40s and 50s. And not the people in their 40s and 50s can't be gamers. There are tons of people who are gamers in their 40s and 50s. I'm just saying specifically, my mother and my aunts have never played video games. And they're in their 40s and 50s. So if I handed them an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, they wouldn't know what the fuck to do. They just look at the number of buttons and get confused. They are not gamers. But all fucking three of them play this fucking game on their iPads where they're planting crops and farming and whatever the fuck they're doing. All three of them play this fucking game. But they're not gamers. It doesn't matter. All three of them play this game. How many other millions of people out there are playing mobile games that are not gamers? Right? When Ubisoft makes a game, they're not marketing it to my mom and my aunts. My mom and my aunts don't fucking play Ubisoft games. They couldn't play them if they wanted to. Like I said, they would get confused looking at the controller. Yet here they are, all three of them, playing this fucking farming game. And even worse, they love it. They fucking love it. When they get together, they talk about the updates to the fucking farming game that they play on their iPad. They love this fucking game. And that's what they do in their free time. I can't tell you how many times I've seen my mom just playing her farming game while she's watching TV at the same goddamn time because she loves her goddamn farming game. See, you need to understand that the number of people who use mobile phones every day vastly, when I say vastly, I mean fucking vastly, outnumbers the amount of people who play games on consoles or handhelds or PC, okay? And the amount of people who play mobile games vastly, and I mean vastly, outnumbers the amount of people who play console games and handheld games and PC games, okay? So when looking at potential customers, when looking at sources for that money, there are way more potential sources for that money in the mobile space than there are in the traditional gaming space. That's just a fact. And then we have these things from mobile games that have carried their way, just kind of burrowed their way into console gaming. Because remember when we started to first see microtransactions in games, and people were like, "Oh, don't worry, they're just going to be in free to play games. Microtransactions are never going to be in games we actually pay money for." And then all of a sudden, we started seeing microtransactions in games that you paid money for. And then I was like, no, look, those are just games as a service type games. We're not going to see microtransactions in regular games. And then here we are now where we have microtransactions in regular games, okay? Microtransactions burrowed their way into gaming to where now we see them everywhere, in every genre, in every fucking type of game. Now they're here. And for me, microtransactions is one of the worst fucking things that could have ever happened in gaming. Because what does it do? It causes studios to then lock cool shit behind the microtransactions. They'll make a game, and then they'll make characters in the game, and they'll make super badass armor for the characters and cool skins for the weapons. And instead of them being something that you unlock by playing the game, you know, kind of how games are supposed to be, they will lock them behind microtransactions. Oh, you want that super badass piece of armor? $2.99. And then we have people saying, oh, well, you know, they're just cosmetic microtransactions. They're not hurting anybody. Bullshit. Because those cosmetic microtransactions should already be in the game and unlockable by playing the fucking game. Because like I said, they design the coolest shit and then they take it out of the game and then say, hey, you want this cool shit? $2.99. You want this badass weapon? $2.99. And I'm sorry, some people may look at it as being innocent. It isn't. It's fucking malicious, and it's by design. They take the cool shit out by design. Or the other thing that again started in mobile gaming and worked its way into console gaming is grinding. Grinding and then microtransactions to help expedite the grind. A perfect example of this was Clash of Clans. And this is in a nutshell how Clash of Clans worked. You built your little castle and then you sent troops over to attack other people's castles. And building your castle works something like this. Oh, you want to build a wall out of wood? Okay, it'll take 20 seconds to build and it's 200 gold. Oh, you want to upgrade that wall from wood to concrete? Okay, it's going to be 2 minutes and it'll be 2,000 gold. Oh, you want to upgrade it to reinforced concrete? Okay, it's going to be 2 hours and it's going to be 200,000 gold. Oh, you want to upgrade it to be level 5 concrete? Okay, that's going to take 2 days and it's going to take 2 million gold. Oh, you want to upgrade those concrete walls to steel reinforced concrete walls? Okay, it's going to take 2 weeks to upgrade and 200 million gold. And then the game would do this. If you don't want to wait 2 weeks, here's some shit that you can buy with real money to expedite how long it takes to upgrade your castle. If you don't have enough gold to even purchase the upgrade, you don't have 200 million gold, and you don't want to wait to take the time to mine it or get it or whatever the fuck you need to do, well, here's where you can go and spend real money to get yourself some gold, to expedite the grind. And if you think I'm exaggerating those times, I am not. It is no bullshit. There were times where you would upgrade something, whether it be a wall or a building or a turret or whatever the fuck it was, and you would have to wait 2 weeks in real time for that item to get upgraded. And in that time, it's unusable. So if, let's say, it was a trebuchet or a cannon or something that was part of your defense, that particular defensive item would be out of commission for 2 weeks. Not 2 in-game weeks, 2 in real fucking life weeks. That shit would be out of commission. Unless you went into their microtransaction store and you bought the currency and the fucking potions or whatever the fuck it was to expedite the wait time, to expedite the grind. And again, some of you may be saying, well, Supernova, there's nothing wrong with that. If people want to wait, they can wait. If they don't want to wait, they don't have to wait. They're giving you options, right? Some people may say that. And to that I say, you dumb motherfuckers. Don't you realize that the games by design are made to incentivize you to go to the store and buy the shit. The games are made to grind, not because that's part of the gameplay loop, not because grinding is kind of what the game's supposed to be. No, the grinding is put there specifically to incentivize you to go into the store and buy shit with real fucking money. So the game designers, instead of thinking of ways to make the game fun, we're thinking of ways to incentivize you to spend real money in the store by making the game as grindy as possible. And of course, in the beginning, it doesn't start off that way. It starts off very easy. Everything's quick. Everything's easy to fucking get. And they want to get you drawn into the game. They want to get you invested into the game. They want you to have spent tens of hours into the game. By the time now shit starts getting real, and now it's like, well, you want to wait or you don't want to wait, homie? What you gonna do? You gonna wait? Or you want your castle to be badass? Here's our store where you can buy real shit and make your castle badass now, homie. Let's go. Let's go. Right? That's how these games are designed. They're designed to fuck us and take money from our wallets. And not designed to take money from our wallets in the sense of, oh, look at this game. It's $60. I think I'll buy it. No, they're designed in the manipulative way of not costing any money up front, of drawing people in by not costing money, by being free, but being designed specifically so that they try to get the money from you later on. And they do get that money from people later on. They get lots of it. Like a lot. A lot. And for example, and this is one that I give people all the fucking time. Candy Crush Saga. Okay? This is a report from 2018. Candy Crush Saga was making $4.2 million a day. A day! Do you know what Candy Crush Saga is? It's a fucking matching jelly bean game. It's a game where you fucking match jelly beans. And you're given like 5 lives or some shit like that. And every stage has a point total that you need to reach. And if while matching the jelly beans, you don't reach that point total, you lose a life. Lose 5 lives and guess what? Your lives will come back, but they reload really fucking slow. Like, you're gonna wait hours to get another life back. Slow. But, you don't have to wait. Why wait? Visit our store and buy lives with real money. And like I said, people do. Lots of people do. To the point where Candy Crush Saga was making about $4.2 million a fucking day. A jelly bean fucking matching game. A fucking overrated Bejeweled clone. At a certain point, all of these big publishers, all of these big gaming publishers, they make these big AAA games, are going to start looking more at these mobile games and saying, look how much fucking money they're making over there. With games that both cost very little to develop and can be developed very quickly. At a certain point, these big publishers are going to start looking at the hardcore gamers, the gamers like me, like you, and saying, fuck these assholes. Let's make games for them. Let's make games for the casual mobile gamer. We can make more games in less time for less money, fill them with microtransactions, and they will make us a fuck ton of money. Not only that, month after month money. Because when someone buys a game, they give you that $60 one time. But these free-to-play games, people are buying shit every month, month after month. Fortnite is free to fucking play, but that shit makes a ton of money. From what? People buying microtransactions. Epic didn't have to go out and sell millions of copies of Fortnite years ago to make money. Epic didn't have to go out and sell any copies of Fortnite because Fortnite is free to fucking play and people spend millions and millions of dollars for character skins in this free-to-play game. And Epic is making money from Fortnite hand over fucking fist. I mean, have you ever stopped to think how Raid Shadow Legends, a free-to-play mobile game, could be the sponsor for every fucking YouTube channel in existence? Fucking there isn't a single channel that fucking Raid Shadow Legends isn't the sponsor of. If it's not Raid Shadow Legends, it's fucking Raycon earbuds. And if it's not Raycon earbuds, it's fucking Raid Shadow Legends. So fucking shitty ass, free to play fucking mobile game. And I always die at these fucks trying to pretend like they actually play this fucking game. Get the fuck out of here. You don't play fucking Raid Shadow Legends. Shut the fuck up. I seen this one video where this asshole was trying to talk about how Raid Shadow Legends has deep RPG mechanics and brings the console gaming experience to mobile. And I'm like, bruh, have you played that game? Ain't no fucking console quality experience. The fuck out of here. And the fucking fucked up part is, because of how successful all these mobile games are and how much money they make, it slowly is trying to make console gaming experiences like Raid Shadow Legends, right? They're not taking the console experience and bringing it to mobile. They're taking the mobile experience and making it the console experience. And I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. It pisses me off. Clearly, it pisses me off because I'm fucking screaming about it. I mean, if I asked you what the largest acquisition in all of gaming history was, I wouldn't blame you for saying Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax for $7.5 billion fucking dollars, right? I wouldn't blame you if you thought that was the answer. But the sad reality is, the largest acquisition in gaming history was fucking Tencent acquiring Supercell, a mobile gaming company that made, wait for it, Clash of fucking Clans. I shit you not. The acquisition of the one studio who made Heyday, Clash of Clans, Boom Beach, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, and Clash Quest cost more money than the acquisition of the multiple studios who make games like Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, and fucking Doom. It cost more money to acquire one studio who made all those bullshit mobile games than the multiple studios who made some of the biggest games in the history of fucking gaming. And why do you think that is? It's because those free-to-play mobile games make a fuck ton of money. That's why. So to bring this full circle, when I see a report of Ubisoft prioritizing free-to-play games, but still making AAA experiences and blockbusters, I don't see a report where it's, oh, we're gonna make these big AAA games and these free-to-play games. I see a report that says, hey, we're making so much money off microtransactions in the games that we have now that we decided we're gonna start making really cheap free-to-play games filled with microtransactions, because why the fuck are we gonna spend money on expensive-ass games when we can just make cheap ones and fill them with microtransactions? And then I'm sure there's going to be some of you out there that are going to say, but wait a second, Supernova, didn't you hear the news? Ubisoft had like a record quarter thanks to revenue because of games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that's not a free-to-play game. And I'll say, you're right. They did have record revenue, but you didn't read the fucking details. First of all, I'd like to point out that Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game that has, what? Microtransactions in it. And not only that, in this article here, it says that Ubisoft reported that 1/3 of that record revenue was from microtransactions. 1 That's a lot. 1/3 of all the money they made last quarter or last year came from microtransactions. Now, the record revenue that they had was 2.22 billion euro, which when you do the math comes out to roughly $2.6 billion. $2.6 billion, and that's not just from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that's from all of their games, and then of course the third that came from microtransactions. Now, I just want to illustrate a point to you, okay? If we go back to the Candy Crush Saga example, at $4.2 million a day, which is roughly what people were spending in 2018 on microtransactions in Candy Crush, they were generating $1.5 billion a year. 1.5 billion a year. Is that 2.6 billion like Ubisoft made? No, it's not. It's $1 billion less. But you got to think Ubisoft is sitting here thinking, okay, so we can spend, between tens of millions upwards to hundreds of millions of dollars to make a game. It's going to take us anywhere between 3 and 5 years to develop. And we got to hire script writers and quest writers and voice actors and composers. And it has to have physics and ray tracing and run at 60 frames per second in 4K and all this other bullshit. We can do all of that for multiple games and make 2.6 billion a year. Or we could make a game where you match jelly beans and make 1.5 billion a year. And even though that's less money, the game costs a fuck ton less to develop. They could do it in less time, and you know what they could do? They could make more of them, or more other smaller experience games that, like I said, are cheaper to make. They can make them in less time, and all they are is little revenue generating machines because of the microtransactions. And they'll be targeting who? The casual mobile gamer. They'll still make some of their big AAA games for us to appease us. But we are now the peasants because all the gravy is going to be coming from the casual mobile gamer. And again, you could say, Supernova, you're fucking crazy. That will never happen. And all I gotta say is, are you crazy? Follow the goddamn money. These companies don't care about us. We've already established that, and we agree upon that, right? They don't care about us. They care about money. There's more money to be made out there than with us. And not only that, they can do it cheaper and faster than they could ever do with us. We are a dying breed, my friends. And that's why when I see reporting like this, I say, fuck you and fuck that bullshit. You need more proof? When's the last time you seen a fucking Konami game? When? Oh, I remember. It was that bullshit cash grab, free-to-play Metal Gear Solid game. Do you remember that game? How terrible that fucking game was? That free-to-play game full of microtransactions? Yeah, that game was great, wasn't it? And where are the other Konami games? Where are they? How come Konami doesn't seem to be making games anymore? Oh, I'll tell you why. Here's an article from fucking 2019. Konami revenue surges to 1.75 billion on the back of, gasp, mobile and esports. They're making more money because of mobile games. Again, we are now the peasants. Before, these companies didn't give a fuck about mobile gaming. Mobile gaming wasn't a thing. They made their money with us. We were their bread and butter. They made gaming experiences for you and for me, and that's how they made their money. Now, we're not the bread and butter anymore, guys. We're old news. We're old fucking news. There is more money to be made out there with the hashtag bitch casuals in the mobile gaming space. More money to be made there. And it takes them less time and costs them less money. It is a no fucking brainer that is where these companies are going to go. And if that wasn't where they were going to go, then why would Ubisoft be focusing on free-to-play at fucking all? Because they know that that's where the money is now. And slowly, we're going to get phased the fuck out. We are a dying breed, my friends. And I will fight it tooth and fucking nail. Because I refuse to just lay down and let the shit happen. And again, for those of you who think I'm being hyperbolic or overreacting, the proof is there. The evidence is there. The pieces are all fucking there. And I know that I'm not the only one with mothers and aunts who are now fucking grandmothers who are playing mobile games. I know I'm not the only goddamn one, okay? And the other thing that you really need to think about is the older gamers, the gamers like me, gamers who were born in the fucking 80s or even early 90s. We didn't have cell phones when we were kids. There were only 3 ways you were gaming on the go. You either had a Game Boy, you had a Game Gear, or you had those shitty-ass Tiger Electronics gaming devices, okay? That was it. So gamers like me, we gamed on consoles, home consoles. That's all we gamed on. There were no microtransactions. There was none of that shit. So when we see microtransactions now as adult gamers, we don't like them. But the newer generation, the newer gamers, the younger gamers, many of their first gaming experiences was on mobile. So the younger generation coming up, they ain't bitching about microtransactions. They don't care. It doesn't bother them. They're the ones who are spending millions of dollars of their parents' money to buy skins in fucking Fortnite. But hey, maybe I am wrong. Maybe none of the shit I'm talking about will happen. Maybe gaming will be the way it is for us forever. Maybe there'll still be bangers for us hardcore gamers on console machines when I'm in my fucking 50s and 60s, right? Maybe that'll be the case. Or maybe in the next 10 to 20 years, console gaming will be almost non-existent. Everything will be mobile or some type of streaming service, and games will be catered to the fucking hashtag bitch casuals and mobile gamers. Maybe that's the reality. Only time will tell, but I'll tell you right now, for this fucking gamer, when I hear news like this from Ubisoft, it gets a big old go fuck yourself and take that free-to-play bullshit and stick it up your ass, because this hardcore gamer ain't about it. But like I said, who knows? Time will tell. And that's all I got for you guys on this one. And that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Or do you think, Supernova, you're overreacting? None of this shit will ever come to fruition. Let me know. And as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next Supernova.